Folks, is every seller a desperate seller? I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending July 17, 2024. Buyers are going to make up their own minds. How they perceive your home or your situation if you're selling many times has nothing to do with the reality of things. Just the fact that sellers are selling today, there's many buyers thinking, if a seller's selling today, they must be a desperate seller just because of the market and what's happening. If you sell your home shortly after you bought it, buyers are thinking you can't afford your home. I'll give you an example. We were selling, one of our clients asked us to sell his condo. Now, he had just purchased a condo less than a year ago, and we sold it for him. In all, maybe about 8 months he had owned this condo. I knew right away buyers were going to think he can't afford this condo. The reality is our client, extremely wealthy. He purchased the condo cash. The whole point of buying the condo was not for him to live in. It was for family that was coming from overseas, for them to stay in. They were going to stay here for a few years. They were going to move here, stay for a few years. He wanted a place for them to stay. Turns out they didn't end up coming. Now he's got this condo. He doesn't even think about the condo. The value of the condo was irrelevant. This was a wealthy client. But that's not how buyers perceived it. He bought it, sold it in short order, must be desperate, must be a desperate seller. So we need to strategize as the listing agent in this situation. We need to strategize against that. I'll give you another example. We had a client call us. They had just recently finished their custom-made home. This home is in an affluent neighborhood. It is a multi-million-dollar property. And after about 6 months of living there, called me saying, Santo, help me find another place. I need to sell this place. Turns out they had a robbery and him and his wife are just uncomfortable there. And the type of property he's looking for now was secluded. Like you couldn't see it from the street is the way he described it to me. He wanted something private. You can't see the home from the street. We want to be able to have it all gated and protected. So he was looking for a lot or a home that already had this. The lot so he can build the home the way he wanted. But he just moved into this custom-made home. Again, multi-million-dollar property. How was that going to be perceived? I knew right away. Buyers are looking at this thinking, hey, this guy spent all this money. He can't afford it anymore. That's why he's selling in such a short period of time. So in selling a property like that, in that situation, in those circumstances, as a listing agent, we need to compensate. At the very least, we need to understand this is how it's going to be perceived. It's not reality, but it will be perceived that he's a desperate seller. How do we deal with that? How do we compensate from that? I'll give you another situation. I'm working with a buyer. We're leaving the house and I get a call from the listing agent. We're just leaving. We're still there. Hey, how was your showing? I said, well, we're kind of just finishing up now. He says, well, I can tell you if your clients are interested, the sellers are open-minded to reviewing any offers. Now, how do I perceive that? Well, I could tell you, I, like most people, are going to think they're desperate sellers. Now, that may be true. It may not be true. It may just be the desperate listing agent. But that's the perception, and that's what we're all dealing with. Since we were very, very young, we were told not to judge a book by its cover, but we all do. First impression is often a lasting impression. We judge based on first impressions, and perception often takes the place of reality. It doesn't matter sometimes what's true and what's not, but what's perceived to be true many times is more important. So if you're putting your home on the market and you're after a certain image. Understand you've got to look at all these different factors as that pertains to your home, and understand the way it's perceived, that's the obstacle you need to overcome as a seller. And your agent should be talking to you about that. You should be looking at your home and the whole situation. Pretend you're the buyer. How's it going to be perceived? Because that'll be reality. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Up here, there's a link. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. York Region, here we go, folks. We're looking at York Region detached properties. We're going to focus on Richmond Hill, Markham, Vaughan. This is for a week ending July 17th for detached properties only. And from one week to the next, all three areas that we're focusing on, average prices went up in each of those areas. Now, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm always wondering, you know, on a weekly basis, prices can go up and down. But when they go up in all three areas, I wonder, like, did everybody just decide to spend more money, or prices just going up right across the board in each of these cities? So let's take a look. We're going to start off with Vaughan. Detached properties only, I said. 24 sold at 24 detached properties sold in Vaughan for week ending July 17th. Now, 24 is up from the previous week a little bit. I mean, previous week was only 20. Before that, sales were trending down. This one week, it's a little bit higher at 24. Usually, seasonally, July and August are a bit more sluggish than they were the preceding few months. And, well, look, sales were trending down. Now they're up. Maybe it's just a week thing, and next week they're going to start trending down again. It's not like 20 or 24 are that many sales to begin with. So 6 of those 24, however, sold at $2 million or more. 6 is 25%, a quarter of the properties that sold at $2 million or more. Naturally, that's going to shoot prices up. So average sold price way up from the previous week. Before that, for about a month, average prices were trending down on a weekly basis. They're now up again to $1,762,000. 1,762 is 9% higher than what it was this time a year ago. The median price is 8% higher. Now, the dotted line shows the last few weeks. The dotted line, that's the 4-week moving average. Prices, previously, I've got 3 months on the board, were trending up. Then prices started to trend down. Now, this 1 week, prices did go up, both average and median price. 24 were sold. 42% sold at list price or more. 68 were listed. Active listings is increasing, trending upward. So there's more choices out there of detached properties. Months of inventory, it's down from the previous week to 4.5. It's almost kind of right in the middle of what we would call a balanced market. But over the last few weeks, we've been between 4.3 and 5.4. So 4.5 seems like an average of over the previous 3 weeks or so. That's Vaughan. Let's look at Richmond Hill. 11 detached properties were sold. So 11 right away tells me, look, we don't have a big sample of properties being sold. So when we calculate averages and so forth, it's only 11 properties that are being considered. So 11 were sold. Sales are trending down. 6 of those, so more than half, sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price, similar pattern to what we just saw in Vaughan. Prices were trending down, but this 1 week they shot up. We're now at $2,011,000 for the average sold price. 2,011,000 is 3% lower than what it was a year ago. The median price is 3% higher than what it was a year ago. 11 were sold. Only 18% of those sold at list price or more. But remember, it's only 11 properties. 57 were listed. 422 are available for sale. But only 11 actually sold. Big difference. Months of inventory, way up there at 8.9 months of inventory. Months of inventory is trending way up. But remember, 8.9, that's because the formula is assuming if we only buy 11 a week, how soon do we go through all the inventory? It'll take 8.9 months. Markham, 21 detached properties were sold for week ending July 17th. 3 of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price up from the previous week to $1,170,000. 1170 is 1% lower than where we were a year ago. The median price is 5% higher. 21 were sold, 57% sold at list price or more. So more than half are selling at list price or more. 62 were listed. Active listings is trending up. There's 347 available to choose from. Months of inventory sitting at 3.8, pretty close to the middle of a balanced market. Here's a quick summary. I would say predominantly you're going to experience a balanced market. You've got Vaughan at 4.5, Markham at 3.8. Richmond Hill is way up there at 8.9, but it's only 11 properties this 1 week that sold. So depending on where you are, we'll see what you experience. Pretty much a balanced market. Some areas you're going to experience a buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.